I hate doing multiple takes. My card filled. I've been in a world of hurt for the last year and a half, but I just wanted to talk about one of the issues I've been dealing with, in case it helps somebody out there. This falls into the category of looking at the hard stuff to understand the world. I'm talking about teeth. And this is for my first take, but we'll just use that because whatever. Sorry, I've been drinking. Where are my followers, by the way? The gods said they would come, and apparently I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I need promoters. Anyways, so yeah, in the last month and a half, I've had serious jaw pain. I didn't have health insurance for a while, and then when I did get health insurance, it was cheap stuff that didn't have dental. Then I thought I had dental, but because of missing a payment, it was canceled. And anyway, so I didn't see a dentist for many years. And, you know, part of that was financial, since I didn't have the coverage. Part of that was because I just didn't feel the need. I try to clean my teeth regularly and take care of them and stuff. I don't do all that good. I brush daily, but you should brush twice a day or after meals. Although when this stuff started happening, I certainly changed up some of my habits, and I've been flossing more, and especially using mouthwash a lot more. But in the last month or so, I started getting serious pain, just like, and it's all over my head. I've had some swelling in the areas that are affected, mainly this area, but and I noticed it was tied with pressure. I mean, maybe I'm making this up in my head, but I swear I noticed that when it was snowing, I got really bad toothache/headaches. And then when a high pressure system would move in and it would clear out, a couple days later I'd feel a whole lot better. So I've been in this cycle of pain back and forth. Anyways, I don't wish it on anyone. And I have a high pain threshold, so like anytime I express any amount of pain, my parents will freak out because they think something is seriously wrong. I also have good proprioception, which is like body self-awareness. But anyways, I don't use painkillers much, and in fact, all I had when this started hurting was Aleve PM, which I had bought this small bottle of at some point to help me sleep mainly. And I have a general dislike of drugs. I think too many of us in Western society, especially America, turn to that as a quick fix, and of course over time they're less effective. But anyway, so I only had this, and this will put you to sleep, and you're only supposed to take it before you go to bed. And but I was having so much pain that I went out and thought, a migraine formula, that might be strong and powerful. But I discovered with this one, it has a 12-hour dosage, or maybe this is a 24. I don't know. I hate how you got to peel the label back now to read the important stuff. I don't know what the drug companies are doing. No, this is a 24-hour. So if you take this before you go to bed, you're not supposed to take painkillers again until the next night. Oh, this is the migraine. So it's not before bed. But anyways, I found that so I thought this would be more powerful, but when I got it, I almost immediately, a few hours later, I'd hurt again. So I got just Bayer, which is aspirin, extra strength, which worked pretty well for me because it's a 6-hour thing, so I could take it more often and in response to the pain rather than just waiting through the pain. And then somebody recommended ibuprofen for tooth-related problems. They had success with it, so I bought this. And then my mom got a piece of chicken stuck in her esophagus, and going to the hospital, they shoved a scope down there and discovered that she has ulcers, and it is because of her Aleve use, due to a couple different things, not important. Her ankle is bad. So she gave me her extra Aleve, as well as some Aleve PM, because the doctor said that this is what caused her stomach ulcers. So yeah, I have more like drugs, more painkillers. Anyways, and I now that I'm dealing with the problems through root canals, I probably won't be taking those, so they'll probably expire and go bad. Anyways, but they have them on. I have them on hand if I need them. Anyways, so I wanted. Anyways. I didn't even introduce myself. I'm calling myself the Druid now. You can call me Kevin if you wish. There are other acceptable things. I've been called many things, especially in the other dimensions where my names are different. I'm different. Boy, I'm getting distracted. But anyways, hashtag occult. If you guys want to join, I've been advised by trusted counsel that hashtag a cult, I should clarify, is not a cult. We're an online fellowship community, and we're not a religion. We're more of a philosophy, and I don't expect you to ascribe to everything that I share. I'm, of course, all over the place, and you don't know what to expect from me, and that's part of my charm. Hey, Cat. We still got to work that contract stuff out, so stay down. Okay, so the root canals, though, this stuff horrifies me. And as a dentist, as a child, you learn about fear of the dentist probably more quickly than you learn about the dentist, because you only see the dentist every 6 months or every year, whatever. And it's really not that bad, but you hear horror stories in the media, whatever. And not horror stories, but just, people complaining about pain and all that stuff when, they're trying to solve problems. But this stuff seems kind of barbaric to me, and it's not, I don't mean to offend any dentists or endodontists with that. It may be my perspective growing up with Star Trek. McCoy would always, not always, but often would talk about how barbaric human medicine used to be. Sorry, I'm drinking a little bit to try and distract me from the pain. I don't drink a whole lot, but sometimes my dad gives me alcohol for Christmas, so still working through that. And it's this stuff called 99 Bananas. It's so strong, and I bought some raspberry lemonade to try and temper it. Get out of the view. So this whole procedure just disturbs me, and but I'm glad to understand what's going on and to have learned this stuff, and I'm going to take better care of my teeth moving forward, see the dentist more frequently, stuff like that. But so this is the gum line, and there's an important aspect of your mouth that it's a point of constant exposure. We're eating usually multiple times a day, and the stuff we put in there can be bad for our health in different ways, but especially sugar can cause tooth decay through bacteria eating away at the teeth. And so a lot of the system of course, teeth are needed for chewing, and it grows up. It's more alcohol. The seal is important. That's what I'm trying to say. And I have a bachelor's in architecture, so I kind of think of this almost like a building and flashing and trying to keep the rain out from leaking into your foundations. But I won't use those terms for that. Your teeth. Whoop! Hey, careful. Your teeth are mostly made out of dentin, which is a really hard material. It's harder than bone. It's a solid, dense bone. Most of your tooth is dentin. You've got a layer of enamel around the outside, which is it's almost like a porcelain. It's a very non-porous, water off a duck's back type of substance. So the enamel is your first protection. It's like the outer shield. And if you get enough, if you don't clean your teeth often enough, even if you do, you can still have problems over time. The sugars, or even, we've had tooth decay as long as we've had civilization, basically. And looking at the historic record, they think the tooth decay started getting bad when we started cultivating our own wheat, and the carbohydrates in bread, in grains, will break down into sugars in your mouth if you don't clean it out well enough. And of course, back in the old days, we didn't have toothbrushes and things. There are things they may have done. I mean, if you can imagine not having a toothbrush, you might, people would often take twigs or roots or things and clean their teeth with them. That isn't very effective. Anyways, we have a lot more tools now, but this root canal process is disturbing. Okay. Most of this is dentin. You've got the enamel coating, but then you've got your roots, which are where the nerves are, and also there's like capillaries, blood flow there. These are the channels that feed the tooth, and that's primarily important. This has made me feel a little bit better. That's primarily important for the growth of the tooth. Once the tooth is fully formed, it's a pretty solid thing, but this still horrifies me, and it may be the microcosm in the macrocosm thing, and I see the parallels between them, and you can't solve the problems of the world if you aren't willing to change yourself, and if you can't change yourself ignoring the world. Anyways, so my endodontist told me that once the tooth is grown, they can kill off these roots. They actually remove the root, or the nerve endings, and all of that soft tissue, which is some of it's just meat, and it's capillaries and blood vessels and stuff. So they actually, if you just have a cavity, that's going to be just in the dentin, or that's when once you break through the enamel, it'll start eating at the dentin. But the dentin is pretty solid, and bacteria will progress slowly through that. But what happens if the bacteria gets down far enough to reach one of these roots, it just goes crazy, because all of this is good nutrients, and it just goes like crazy and eats all that. And now the problem you have, once that happens, is that this becomes pretty much a funnel for rot. It's just a funnel for rot. And anytime you drink or eat, you get, the sugar pop or the food particles in there, and that feeds the bacteria to keep going. And the bacteria, once it gets down, it will start eating at your jawbone. And your bones are more porous and softer than the dentin of teeth, and so it can cause serious problems long term. Anyways, this horrifies me, because what they do to deal with this is they just freaking drill in, make a big hole, then they start drilling down each of your roots. Then they use they've got these little I don't know what to call them. They're really thin and small, and they just use them by hand. But they're little, like, I think he used plastic and metal. I think he went in with something that looked like this, with little barbs all the way down its shaft. So he'll shove that in each root separately and repeatedly push it in and pull it out. And so the barbs flatten down when he pushes it in, and when he pulls it back, the barbs grab the edges and actually cleanse everything out of there. The bacteria, the bad stuff, any food or nutrients that's gotten in there, but also all the pulp and the dead nerves, because usually by this point the nerves will be dead. And of course, before they start this, they give you a local anesthetic and then inject you with some he rubbed on local anesthetic so that then the needle didn't hurt as much, and then he gave me a needle that would numb basically that quadrant of my jaw. Anyways, so all this drilling, all this scraping and pulling, and they even put some chemicals in there, antibiotics to kill anything that's in there, but also something that actually kind of liquefies the soft pulps. It doesn't affect the dentin, but it'll turn the rest of that stuff to mush, so it's easier to pull out. Anyways, so this horrifies me, because what they're doing essentially is killing the life source of that tooth. And again, he pointed out that once the tooth is grown, that isn't as critical, and he said that your tooth still gets nutrients from your gums. I don't know what your tooth needs nutrients for once it's dead like that, but I think his point was that the roots are still somewhat living, at least on the outside. But what they end up doing is filling this with temporary fills, and then the endodontist. This is how it normally works. There used to be dentists would do this, and now most dentists outsource it to an endodontist. The endo means inside, so it literally just means a dentist that works inside teeth. So they specialize in this internal stuff, and your endodontist will put little temporary splints in here to fill the space, and he'll douse those with an antibacterial thing so that anything that's in there will be killed over time. He'll sometimes put a little bit of cotton in here, just a spacer, and then he'll give you a temporary filling. When you go to your dentist then afterwards, the dentist removes the temporary filling, removes these temporary splints, and fills this stuff with new material, and then they prep you for a crown. Often the tooth is damaged enough that they will take a mold of your teeth, and then they'll build a crown for you that actually goes around your tooth and over it. And they'll like cement it on. So what ends up happening when they're done with all this is you have a tooth that is basically impenetrable. it becomes like one big solid stone. And they try to clean it out real well, because obviously you wouldn't want rot occurring inside there. But at the same time, the bacteria needs nourishment. And I suppose it, this pulp could be nutrient, but probably its best nutrient is anything that comes in from your mouth. So, in my younger days, I would have made this a metaphor for something. Like, maybe this is the public sphere, and this is the deep state, and, or maybe this is our reality. Dimension? Yeah, and this is others that maybe this is the individual, and this is our culture. I don't know. You guys figure that out for yourself. There's some really good metaphor here that I'm sure you would enjoy if you're smart enough to entertain metaphors. Smart enough. Everyone can. Yeah. Alcohol. More alcohol. So, yeah, that sucks. I suppose there are things that I could say about evolution or creation, that, like, if God truly loved us, why didn't he make us so our teeth lasted longer? Or maybe so we kept getting new teeth, not just 2 sets. I don't know. So yeah, where are my followers? I was pretty clearly told by the gods, by a god, a goddess, that more new followers would be coming. Sorry, I'm playing with a pen. And yeah, maybe I need some promotion or some help. I don't know. I don't know if you can see this. Oh, it's gone. Had a little bit of, like, tooth material, filler material on my glasses from the procedure, but it's gone now. It must have been loose. Just fell off. So yeah, 2017 sucked. What seems to be a general sentiment among a lot of people, but for me personally, it was one of the hardest years I've had, certainly in my adult life. So anyways, figured out a slight improvement to the hand gesture. Shows off my nails too. There we go. Hashtag, what am I doing wrong? Is that right? Burp. A cult. I'll see how that looks once it's live on YouTube. Minds.com. I recommend checking me out there. It's less likely that things will be removed. So, and I'm friends with one of the founders. I feel safe saying that, friends. Yeah. Yeah. So, Happy New Year. Yeah, I can't even talk about Unicult yet. Oh my God, that threw me off so much. Wish I had discovered Unicult a year ago. My thought process would have been very different. But let's move ahead with Occult. They are not the entire solution. I don't want to declare Occult enemies with Unicult. But Unicult is a cult. I'll just point that out. So let's get serious, folks. Unicult is a cult. Hashtag Occult is an online fellowship community. I'm glad that's all cleared up. We can put all those questions behind us now.